Árstíðir lífsins, Saga tveim tungum 2. Let's do it. Árstíðir lífsins is a band that I've loved for a very long time. They incorporate the Old Norse sagas into their music, and it's almost like a world building exercise in a way. They're bringing this music to life in a very real, visceral, almost tangible way. That's silly to say about music, but you know, it feels very present when you're listening to it and engaging with it. Saga 2, I'm going to call it that for the rest of the review because it's quite a mouthful, is their 5th full length, I want to say. Don't quote me, it might be their 4th, but regardless, you know, they've been a very prolific band throughout their career, and I really think this is the crown jewel of their discography thus far. It's worth noting they've also released a split with Carpe Noctem this year. That's another Icelandic black metal band. That's definitely worth checking out. But obviously the focus of this review is going to be the new album. So let's get into the album itself. This is a 75-minute journey in a way. The last song on the record is 18 minutes alone. So, you know, it is a very dense, vibrant listening experience. And for those of you who are unfamiliar with the band, Árstíðir lífsins incorporates, you know, traditional Scandinavian black metal, but they combine it with this sort of moody, Northern European folk music. There's a lot of, you know, acoustic instrumentation, there's violin, there's cello, there's even vibraphone on some points of this record. So, you know, it is a very detailed and layered listening experience. And, you know, I think what they bring to the table really at the end of the day is authenticity, in a way that a lot of other Viking metal doesn't really have. You know, a lot of, you know, Amon Amarth obviously comes immediately to mind, but, you know, bands like that focus on tropes, or, you know, sort of, you know, pop cultural depictions of Norse mythology. And I think what you really get with an Árstíðir lífsins record, especially this new one, is a very real sense of sort of the world and what it would have been like to actually live as a normal person in that time. You know, this isn't a story about Norse gods and Norse mythology in general. It's a very serious, down-to-earth look at what it would have been like to live as someone in that time period. Obviously, it's written in Old Icelandic, so it's not really an accessible look, but it is there. And I think that speaks to the band's credit too, because, you know, in today's day and age where everybody is writing lyrics in English, you know, even European bands, it really is going out on a limb to write an entire record in what is essentially a dead language. There's only 300,000 native speakers of Icelandic today, so Old Icelandic obviously is a lot less popular. But, you know, again, let's just talk about what the album actually sounds like. The first 2 tracks on this record are essentially, you know, what on any other record would just be an introduction track. The first song is like 8 minutes long, the second one is 3 minutes long, and they're just these folky, almost ambient introductory passages. There's a lot of, you know, really baritone-rich, like spoken word parts. There's some chanting, there's a lot of violin, and just this general, like, atmosphere setting, I guess is what I would call it. And I think it serves the record well because it sort of introduces you to the world that you're going to be immersing yourself in, and kind of lets you get carried away before they actually get to the metal elements of the record, which appear on the 3rd track. And it's just sort of this, you know, very traditional, fast-paced black metal composition. But because of the disparity with the folkier elements on the record, it sort of almost heightens the aggression. And I guess, you know, something else I'd want to touch on is the accolades of the band members themselves. Árstíðir lífsins is an international project. Their vocalist is German, their drummer is Icelandic, and I believe their guitarist and bassist it's one guy. I'm pretty sure he's German as well. He could be Icelandic, but, you know, it's an international project, but what brings them together is obviously their emphasis on an appreciation for the Old Norse sagas. And the vocalist, Marcel, the German man, is, he has a Magister Artium in Norse philology and history, which I'm fairly certain is the European equivalent of like a master's degree in America. And the drummer, whose name is Arnie, has a BA in composition, music composition. So, these men are incredibly talented, and they're very serious about what they're doing. And I really think that shines through on this record. The passion that these men have for this source material, and like, honestly, how many bands even use source material, like, first-hand source material in writing a record? That's what you do for a thesis paper or something. But the passion that they have for this and for bringing this to life and constructing this world is just very, very apparent on this record. I think it again, as I was touching on earlier, the watchword for this record and for this entire project is authenticity. It's just a very real, earthy look at this culture that fascinates so many people but isn't necessarily accessible to the public. As I was saying, it's sort of either presented to you in terms of these tropes, or it's a very academic like niche being studied by a few experts around the world. And what they're doing here is bringing that that very literal academic expertise and presenting it in a way that's both engaging and, I'm not going to try to talk over the wind because I'm sure it's much louder in the camera than it is to me. But yeah, they're bringing it to life in a very real way. I think it's very authentic. It's very genuine. It's not silly at all, and I absolutely adore this record. I adore this project. Cannot wait for the next full length. I'm sure that'll be 2 or 3 years down the line, but absolutely recommend this record. I think you should check it out. Thanks for listening, and I hope you have a great day.